Nebraska 87, Penn State 64. Winning more fun than losing. Kaleb Henry agrees with me. I'm Jack Mitchell. This is the Nebrasketball Hour from I-80 Club. Patreon.com/I-80 Club to become a member and get all kinds of great perks you can read about there. Our show, Nebrasketball Hour, has been graciously sponsored by our good friends who I text with one of them before the games every time. It's Nebraska Realty, and it's the office. It's north, right?
Yes, it's north of here.
Where? What's the name? What?
Wahoo!
There it is, the Wahoo office. If you're watching on YouTube, Kurt's phone number is right there. If you want to give him a call. That's Full Mask Guy, and we'll tell you more about he and the other guys at Nebraska Realty. But we got to talk about what was just I would call it a wildly pleasant afternoon. It was just nice, you know. It's like sitting on the front porch on a nice spring day. It was about 74 outside.
Yeah. Boring wins are fun.
Having a glass of lemonade,
fun too. Yes,
that's what being. I got to go. I haven't been in a game since January 2nd. Michigan State. I haven't been in a game since Michigan State, so I got to be in there again. Nebraska, by the way, unbeaten when I'm there. I'm not saying that's why. But Nebraska had kind of a did what they needed to do. I'm sure we'll pick some things out of there. Probably the headline before and after the game was who is not playing at the beginning and who is not playing at the end. Unfortunately, Berke Bungton gel. I found out right before I walked into the arena. My daughter was reading Instagram and told me Berke was not going to be playing. We noticed he wasn't on the bench. We speculated he might have got the rank masked stomach situation, and Fred seemed to confirm. Well, Fred did confirm that on the post-game show. Sounded like he had been having problems with it. Came back to practice yesterday, and then kind of got it again. Tried to go today, couldn't go. Ended up sending him home. I think he watched it from the couch or in bed. And then the other half of that is Jamarcus Lawrence went out of the game, went to the locker room with about 6-7 minutes left in the second half. It was obviously a leg injury at the time. We couldn't tell if it was a knee or an ankle. Fred said it was an ankle on the post-game show. I'm sure I read into everything too much, but Fred didn't. I couldn't tell. Just in terms of the little bit Fred said about it, he said, "We'll know more tomorrow," is basically what he said.
Yeah, he didn't. Fred didn't sound overly concerned about it.
No, I wouldn't say he did either, but I don't know. Yeah, he said he basically had adrenaline going through him now, so I think he couldn't tell, how much it would swell up. And
in the range of, he may have tweaked it, to Braden Frager is praying with Connor Essegian on the bench. And Frager's playing really, really well. So I think he's all the way back. So I think we're way closer to one side than the other.
I hope so because we do not need. I mean, every game now has an injury scare. At this point, it feels like Sam's had one. You've had Frager have another one. And Rink with the finger before the game. It's just like let's not have these. So those are probably what everyone is wondering about most. That's the latest that we've got. But yeah, hopefully Berke can get back in time to play on Wednesday. Like I said, he sounds like he tried to go today but couldn't. So hopefully by the time Wednesday rolls around, he'll be able to play. We'll see about Jamarcus. Now the game itself, Nebraska. I mean, kind of, first 8 to 10 minutes, it was tight, and at some point you realize Penn State didn't have enough offense to compete in this game. When I looked up and there was 3 minutes left in the first half, and I think they had 15 points. It
was getting bad.
It was, that's a rough team right now. That is a team who looks like they're ready for the season to be over. But nonetheless, like you said, Kaleb, Nebraska for the most part, I thought you saw kind of the regular version, the early season version of almost all of the players, maybe except one. But I want to know what you thought about the game.
Yeah, it was. I mean, start to finish, Nebraska comes out and is hitting shots and is able to move around. And it's so much different when you're watching the offense be able to move cleanly. And think about how muddled everything has been over the last month because of how physical the teams have been. And not just physical, but like just holding on to people constantly. You didn't have that today. Part of that is Penn State's not a good basketball team. like that's number one for all of this. Just like Penn State's not good. They're not good defensively. They're not good at putting the ball in the basket all the way around. So
they're not big. I mean, they're not overly big. They're not good rebounders.
Yeah, at one point, Sam jumps up, and there are three guys a foot taller than him standing around him, and they foul him going for the putback. We're like, yeah, that's you. You guys got some issues. So just being able to see the guys move around, and not just move around, but Jack, they're like to hit shots right away. Yeah. And you get a couple from Pryce right away. Frager goes back to back. And you extend that lead to double figures, and then it's to 20, and you're just feeling so much better about the way things go because offensively you're hitting shots, defensively you're smothering guys, like already a bad shooting team into taking bad shots and missing them. And here's what I liked, especially in the first half, not that it didn't happen in the second half, but it stood out to me early on because think about the times when you had Frager not playing, and you got, say, Jared Garcia came in the game for him. And what did Jared Garcia do when Frager was out with an injury? Tried to be Braden Frager. Well, okay, Frager's in, second start of the year, no Berke, and you see Frager flying down the lane for rebounds. I'm like, good. Okay, that's a thing you can do. Obviously, we want you to do stuff offensively, but if you can become some of the replacement on the rebounding, that's within Frager's skill set for sure. And if he can use that and utilize it more when Berke's back, I think that'll be a big addition for like a big improvement for this team as a whole because rebounding's been an issue.
Yeah. That's a great point, and I thought that a little bit too. He gets 3 offensive rebounds in the first 5 minutes of the game, tripling one player in 5 minutes, tripled Nebraska's total offensive rebound output from last week. But you're right. If there's someone they can get some help from in the rebounding game, Frager he's going to be quicker than a lot of the guys. He can jump. I mean, he can get up there like a bunch of those guys. I mean, even though he's losing some inches on some of them,
yep,
he can get up. And so I think that's something. I hope he can embrace that role going forward. And I'll echo what you said earlier. I thought he looked more. He looked more himself. On the offensive end again, just moving. He was just in constant motion during this game, which I don't think I saw him look like that since the injury. He was kind of camping out a little bit more. I thought, and it was a lot of off-ball stuff to be honest, but still, he was, he had a good night score, and he had 15 points still in 23 minutes, and he shot really well again. So yeah, I thought he was good. And like, what do you say about Pryce? He made probably 3 or 4, whether they were layups when he was just had no business even getting the ball up or getting a foul when shooting a 3. I think he missed the easiest 3 he took of the night, which was wide open on the baseline.
But he did. But okay. He's allowed to miss that one because he made the one after getting the highlight pass from Sam.
That was the highlight.
Like you have to make that one.
Yeah. So Pryce, I mean, man, if you got a little bit of that, and he was driving and he was getting in traffic and finishing in there. And again, like we said what we did about Penn State defensively, but he was just going into traffic basically and scoring. And it's like, man, if you could have had just a little bit of that against Iowa from him, as you said during that game, like that was the one where they needed a Bryce Williams type. Not that he's a Bryce Williams type, but that style of going to the rim a little bit and spreading out the defense. And if he could have done that a little bit in that game, but anyway.
Right. And I want that mentality. Again, Penn State being not good. There was an instance where Cale Jacobson had the ball in the corner. He's got 5 feet of cushion. he drives almost at the guy. The guy just steps out of the way and he gets into the paint. And I was like, all right, you guys aren't even trying to play defense right now.
I mean, the amount of effort Penn State put into rebounding the ball was amazing. I mean, and then by the end of the game, you mentioned Sam's pass, and once again, Sam Hoiberg, he ends up with a double-double. I didn't even realize I left at the under timeout.
Yeah, he was chasing it at the end.
Well, he must have been.
Yeah, his last bucket to get that layup was like, it was emphatic to get to 11 points.
There was a point with about 8 minutes left in the game that I don't remember where he had gotten. It might have been when he went up for that rebound that you were talking about and got fouled.
Yep.
That I could almost see on the Penn State players' faces. They were like, why is this guy trying this hard right now? What is he? I kept thinking of that scene in Rudy when they're complaining about how hard he's playing in practice. Yeah. If you had a half of his heart, you'd been All-American by now. Hoiberg just like played with his hair on fire the entire game and was doing everything. I actually thought he had more rebounds than he did in the game, but he went up and got some. Yeah. Like every rebound he got were just like, he was just going way up and getting those and wildly out efforting Penn State. I mean, that team is defeated, man.
Again, it's not that for a guy like Sam that he doesn't do that, but when you're missing kind of like your key rebounder, or at least somebody who goes and gets a body on someone for the rebounding, to have multiple guys step up in this spot and say, we're going to make it a point of emphasis with Frager, with Sam. Jared Garcia actually rebounded pretty well too. He ends up with 3 offensive rebounds out of his 7 total.
Yeah. Yeah, get his butt down there and not shooting 3-pointers.
Don't let him touch the ball. Don't let him pass the ball. Tell him to grab it and hand it off to somebody.
Did he get any minutes against Iowa? He didn't, did he?
No, I don't remember him playing against Iowa. But today he goes 19 minutes.
I mean, hindsight is 20/20, but man, it feels like if nothing else for the purpose of rebounding, that you could have had him in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you're losing a ton for what Nebraska was doing. Nebraska wasn't really doing much offensively anyway. I think I think that's why you keep him out of there most of the time, unless you've got some specific defensive concerns about him. But he can, like, if there is one thing that he brings to the table, it's kind of that it's that ability to get offensive rebounds.
Yeah,
that they are short on this team. And I'm not saying he's the best in the world, but he's above average for Nebraska's roster right now.
Yeah, and we saw how important it was against Illinois the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just wonder if he's got a bigger role, because when you identify Nebraska's weaknesses, that is probably the most glaring, is on the boards generally, and especially giving up second, third, fourth opportunities. Well, I guess he was on the offensive side, but still, same point. My original point was about offense, but both sides of the ball. To me, I think that's their biggest potential Achilles heel when you look at matchups in the NCAA tournament, and even Iowa was really able to give them a hard time with that. And so I wonder, get Frager. Like, that's what I'm thinking about, is how do you improve that rebounding situation? And I know Fred, you went through, what was it, a couple games ago, and had him watch, was it Purdue, where you had him watch every single offensive rebound that Purdue got.
Yeah.
And it apparently didn't help, but it didn't help until you were playing Penn State. Right. So listen, I'll say this about it. I've a couple more things before we talk a little bit about Nebraska Realty Wahoo Office, who's our title sponsor for the Nebrasketball Hour. Well, we're kind of going through the team. I guess we've left out Rink Mast. And if I have any disappointment about that game, is just I was hoping he was gonna look better offensively than he did. I think that's it. It looked hopeful at the beginning. He hit a hook shot on the baseline right away at the beginning, and then there was nothing after that until I think the second half. I don't know if he had his second basket.
Yeah, here's what we'll take out of because in the first half he only had those 2 points. He goes 1 for 7 from the field. He ends up But in the second half, he goes 3 for 3. Now, here's the thing that really I thought was a step in the right direction for Rink. 3 assists, no turnovers.
That's
something. So if you're going through, because what have his issues been? His issues have been not hitting shots, like forcing some really tough shots, but then compounding the offensive issues by going 2, 3, 4, 5+ turnovers. When you start to do that, it's okay. You're missing shots. That's not helpful to the cause, even if they're good shots. But then you're making it so your offense isn't even getting the shots, which then makes it more hurtful for the cause. So today, he ends up shooting 40%. It's not awful. You want a big man shooting better than that if he's inside. But so he's 50% on twos, 4 for 8 because he goes 0 for 2 from deep. But it was 3 assists, no turnovers. That's the biggest thing of looking at. Okay, can you feel how much better that felt for Rink?
Yeah, I mean, it's a baby step for sure. Yeah. But I agree because that was a problem too. I just can't get over Kaleb. When at the beginning of the year, he just had this sort of look of, I don't know how to describe it, like mature confidence, knowing the game. Yeah, he just had that whole aura about him, and he was super. He just played with a confidence he doesn't have anymore. I can almost see him sort of hesitate sometimes. Not decisive on the inside when it comes to scoring. He just hasn't shown the moves inside and the way that he's been able to score on guys in the post. He isn't hitting the hook shot as consistently. He isn't hitting the 3 as consistently. So he's not shooting as well. And I thought he did have that Rutgers game where everything went in. So you can't even say that it's since the pukes, but
right.
That was a game where I feel like that was the type of a matchup that Rink Mast usually just ate offensively in. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with him, but I hope he can get back in the swing, but I hope he can have a big game against Maryland. And maybe just restore a little bit of confidence, because that looks like one of the issues to me for some reason.
Yeah. Well, and also who knows the way the flow of the game is going. If Pryce isn't going ballistic, does Rink start to force some stuff? Do they force some other things going his direction? So it could have been flow of the game as well, that he ends up with just the 10 shots, only 3 shots in the second half. But like I said, he made all of them. But you can get away with having nights like this if Pryce Sandfort makes 8 threes, scores 33.
If Pryce and Frager are going to score like this, you're going to, other than a few teams, you're going to be able to outscore a lot of teams.
Which, by the way, Pryce now not just the single season school record holder for made threes, the single game. He tied single game with his 8 threes today.
And who's that? Who did he tie?
Oh, I didn't
on that one.
Kenobi, help us out.
Well, yeah. Probably Brian Conklin. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have somebody effort that for it. I missed who it was, and I should know off the top of my head, but I don't. And it could be Pajkowski too. But somebody will know that. In any case, that's my, if I have any other than the injuries and the DNP, that's the only thing for me is I think that could have been the biggest thing I saw. And they still played well, and they should have beaten that team. They really, I mean, they needed to. But on the other hand, listen, Kaleb, there's not a team that they, should beat by a lot that they haven't essentially this year. They've had slow halves in the non-con. They've had, slow halves against some of those teams in the conference play too. But that's one thing about them that they have not done this year, and they're running out of chances to do, is just not show up against a team that they should be able to line up and beat. And all year long they've done it, and they'll have another chance on Wednesday night to do the same thing. It was Carey. Okay. Both of them were Carey.
Yeah.
Carey Cohorn.
Okay.
He's getting wiped off the record book.
Well, he's still tied with this one. Still tied. So he's still there.
Okay.
But you're right. It's when you were starting to look at it and you had that it was like a 14-2 run for Penn State when you were trying to get the starters out of the game, and then you get the run back for the Nittany Lions. Okay, you put everyone back in, and then you absolutely roll again, and you end up hammering Penn State. This is a good, it looks really good on the metrics. And Jack, what did we see on the metrics today? How does the selection committee view Nebraska? On the 3 line, but just far enough back on the 3 line today that you're outside of St. Louis and outside of Oklahoma City. And then hello, Cincinnati at Fog Allen Fieldhouse just destroys the Jayhawks. And it was a 425-game streak of not losing by double digits at home to an unranked opponent.
Does anyone know what happened exactly?
I'm sure nobody was paying obviously I was here.
Does anybody in the chat that can give me just some kind of a summary of what happened? Because it was halftime. I went up to use bathroom, waiting in line with Darren Erstad, having a pretty good day already. And then I look on my phone. I'm like, yeah, let's see what's going on. Let's get some scores from around the nation. And that was at the very top. And there was still a few minutes left, and they were down. Kansas was down 16. And I'm like, I said this to Josh in the morning. If there's anything that you can cheer for, the biggest thing you have to cheer for is Big 12 teams, and most specifically Kansas, losing to not each other. Houston, Kansas, and Iowa State losing to teams other than those 3.
Right, not just each other.
And the biggest one that you needed it from was Kansas, and there you got it right off the bat. So that's huge to have that, because that is going to hurt. That's a bad loss.
Yeah, that's everyone was saying it was a seed knock is where it was. So that's going to, obviously, if Nebraska was sitting in for the selection committee for the top 16 reveal, the way they view the teams today with just over 3 weeks to go. But Kansas was 1 spot ahead of Nebraska. So Nebraska takes care of business, and Kansas doesn't find a way to win every other game the rest of the year. Okay, that puts Nebraska back in contention for one of those closer sites. Yeah. It's a big deal the way that plays out. And the rest of this season, thanks to, and I forget who had it, I think it was G. Merle, but the Nebrasketball rooting guide every day for the rest of this basketball season.
I love rooting guides.
Yeah, so those will get shared out on all of the I-80 Club socials the rest of this season. So every day you wake up and you know there's college basketball, we will tell you who you should be rooting for to help Nebraska move up in those seed lines, but also get one of those closer host sites. Obviously, the caveat to that, within the rooting guides, Nebraska needs to take care of its own business too.
You don't have to list those on the rooting guide. Yes.
No, I'm going to list that. We remind, just constant reminders. We have to caveat.
I guess we're going for Nebraska tonight, huh?
Just in case you're curious, or you get to March 8th and you're like, hey, we actually want Iowa to win this game.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I want to read some of the chats in our Discord. And by the way, you can also, if you're not in the Discord, if you're not a member, why not? Patreon.com/I80 Club. You could be getting Josh and I did we call it the chat sack. It's like the mailbag, but we call it the chat sack today. We had a lot of good media and coaching talk today on the chat sack. But Kaleb, you want to tell us about our friends at Nebraska Realty Wahoo office today, who are our title sponsors here for Nebrasketball Hour?
Yeah, all these guys at Nebraska Realty and Wahoo, and we continue to say Wahoo, but it's just like the guys on the Nebrasketball team. They might come from Turkey, they might come from Iceland, they might come from Lincoln. Whatever it is, though, these guys are going to take care of you, not just in Wahoo. They're going to take care of you statewide, whether it's auctions, whether it's obviously you're looking for a house, you're looking for land. These guys are there, and my favorite part, Jack, that we continue to talk about these guys is that they're Nebrasketball sickos. These guys are living with Husker basketball throughout this season. They are at the games themselves. They're texting you about these games. These are the guys that if you're tuning in for this show and you want to hear about Nebrasketball, well, these are the guys that you're going to want to work with when it comes to something realty involved across the state, especially as we're getting into this spring. I know it's snowed right now, but there's got to be auctions coming up as you're getting ready, especially a lot of our ag folks getting ready to go through with probably tilling again, getting into that.
That's what I'm thinking about.
I know you're thinking about it. That's why I'm the one talking about
Time to get the crops in soon, I think.
Yeah, you got to avoid the freeze.
Remind me to get the crops in.
Josh Peterson doomed us all for another snow. We all know it's his fault. But these are the guys you're going to want to go talk to, and you're going to want to talk to, especially give Kurt a call. We've got his number up there on the screen. And Jack, what's the other number for Wahoo?
Yep, that's 402-443-3415. Yeah, you got Dan there, Dan Sanderson, who he's the ag land specialist, but he's also an incredible auctioneer. We think the best in the state. And so if you've got a personal property auction in a state and you're like, we got to make some dough on this thing, it makes a huge difference if you've got the right auctioneer. Like getting the best in the state is the one that you want. So yeah, all of these guys do a great job. Tim Shanahan, Kurt Malley, Dan Sanderson. It is Nebraska Realty Wahoo. I don't do it as good as you. The Wahoo office. So give them a call, 402-443-3415. Some of the comments from our members, the I-80 Club members here. Royals Girl posted a tweet from John Rothstein saying today's loss will drop Kansas's seed line on Selection Sunday. We'll I think at the end of the show, we'll really delve more into that top 16 remaining schedules, the other stuff that you were referencing there a little bit. Dave Fight says, my concern is not specific to a single player, as this team has proven that other guys can step up to fill the void, but I'm concerned about the number of viable bodies as 7-man rotation is not sustainable with the number of fouls we pick up on defense. For sure. Yeah. And when you have one out, we've seen it. You have Berke out, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, well, and that's the reason that it felt so good to get more minutes for Leo, to get more minutes for Jared, and try to build up some of these guys, not just for Fred having the confidence in them to put them out there, but for them to have the confidence that they can go out and perform. And it doesn't have to be Garcia playing 19 minutes, Leo played 10. Like, if you can get 5 minutes from each of those guys, it doesn't have to be double-digit minutes, but over the course of a game, if you can sub them in and get 5 to 8 minutes from each of them, that's going to be helpful in the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament, especially like Dave said, when it comes to foul trouble. If you just need to get somebody out because of fouls or because of the rotation that'll certainly tighten up late in a close game, to just give them a breather, give them to the next media break. That's why it was so good to see those guys. And I don't know what dog Kendall Blue has apparently kicked, but we didn't see him until there was like 90 seconds left in the game, and he comes out and scores right away. Like, are we going to get a weird late season thing from him? I don't think so. But yeah, the rotation, trying to just get those guys a little bit of a rest in these games so that they're good to go when it's late and it's winning time, that's going to be helpful.
Yep, I agree. While not having Berke was not ideal, this was the game to do it, though. And I totally agree with you getting those guys. They're at some point they're absolutely going to need Garcia. Mm-hmm. And there's a chance that they're going to need Leo, I think, too. If you play a team that's got a big, you might need his fouls, if nothing else, if Rank would get in foul trouble. You could see that in tournament play, that could be something to come up. So I think the more you get those guys in throughout the end of the season, the better. And I already said what I think Garcia can bring to the table, if he can at least help you move a little closer in the rebounding game against opponents who do that well. Mexi Price says, man, Sammy was 5 away on rebounds from a triple-double. I thought he had more rebounds than he did. I thought when I had to look, because I thought he would have more rebounds than assists during that game. Not that he had a lot of assists, but going inside the box score here, top minutes, Sam and Pryce both got 35 minutes.
Yeah.
As we said, Pryce ended up with 33 points. Man, his shooting overall, though, 8 for 14 from 3, 11 for 17 field goals, 3 for 3 from the line, and also 9 rebounds.
Yes, that was big too. And I think he had a blocked shot earlier in the game too.
Yeah, he did. He had a block, and he had 1 turnover. Nebraska had 11 turnovers for the game. Hoiberg actually had 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had one where he just bobbled the ball on a pass. He was really upset about that one. And then Garcia also had 3 turnovers. Jeez, now that's why he's not playing very much.
Again,
God,
if he's in the game, it is to rebound the basketball and play defense.
He must have had one at the end that I didn't see because I didn't even realize he had that many. But he did also had 3 blocks. Garcia did.
Yeah.
And 7 rebounds. Only Pryce had more rebounds than Garcia got in 19 minutes of playing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, go out there and be Rodman, man. That's what I tell him.
Yes.
You're Rodman. And if you're going to get some putbacks, yes. Right? So you're going to get some points, but that's what I would love to see from him. Second on the team in scoring, Frager. Frager had, shot an even 50% from the field, even 50% from 3-point range, even 50% one for 2 from the line. He made half of everything he shot.
Mr. 50%
shot tonight. He also pulled down 6 rebounds, 4 of them offensive, 3 of them in the first 5 minutes of the game. As we said, just a couple other things that I noted here from the box score when taking a look at it. Jamarcus 1 for 6 from 3. Couldn't hit threes, but he had that section in the game. And this is the great thing when Pryce gets going, because eventually, eventually teams give so much attention to him. And this is kind of what I was doing, but Nebraska couldn't use it to their advantage. But they were worried enough about him that Jamarcus Lawrence was able. I mean, he was getting fouled when he was going in too, but I think he had about 7 points over about 2 minutes there in that one section before he got hurt, hit that 1-3 that he had. And that's when it feels like that's really when he gets going, is when teams finally start to really get worried about Pryce. And we've seen that from him before.
That stretch you're talking about, that was early in the second half, because you had a 3-pointer and a dunk right away from Penn State. And then you had Jamarcus with his 3, a rink mass jumper, and then back-to-back layups from Jamarcus to get it back up to 22 points. So it was like boom, boom, boom. That's where you got them all.
Yeah.
But it was important for that stretch when you were thinking big picture, because, is Penn State going to have some life? Or are they going to come out in the second half and then throw the first punch and the second punch? Instead, it was kind of a little bit of a tap, and then Lawrence said no.
Yeah. And it just goes to my theory about this team. Like, there's enough offensive talent and depth of offensive talent on this team that you're going to need a lot of guys to go cold to really have it be a problem. It just was, especially against teams that are really going to. Not every basketball teams we saw today, and especially ones that you might see early in the NCAA tournament, are going to play defense like Iowa did. And so I think, in terms of, winning that first round game, as long as you don't have just 4 guys who are ice cold or injuries or anything like that, I think I feel pretty good about that situation. But going beyond that is going to require rink mass. To me, that's, you can't just rely on Frager and Sandfort, one or both of them getting hot, or Sam or Jamarcus having a random hot night in addition to them. The difference between first round of the NCAA tournament and the Sweet 16 is having the dynamic of rink mass doing all of the things that he does well.
Yeah, because the way the team is played is, okay, as long as you just don't completely fall off, like you said, either injuries or awful shooting night for everyone, 1 through 7, 1 through 8, 1 through 9, whatever, you're going to win that first round of the NCAA tournament. The ceiling, however, is, okay, do you have a decent second round matchup and you're still able to play really well? And then when you get into weird territory, second weekend, if you're able to get there, the ceiling on that is not just Pryce and Frager scoring, and not just a full stat sheet from Sam and contributions from Jamarcus and from Kale. It comes down to, does Rink not just collapse and have a 7-point game, which is fine, and then 1 assist and 6 turnovers? When you start to add in all of those things for him, that can become the difference if you get into that second weekend on, hey, the monkey's off the program's back. Not only did you get one, you got two. What can you do from here? The what can you do from here is heavily dependent on rink mass, and not just do you get 48 points between Sandfort and Frager.
Yeah, they're good enough. They're almost always going to beat mediocre teams with that setup. They're going to beat good teams with that setup, but they're not going to beat the bet. They're not going to beat the type of teams that you need to beat to get into the second weekend of the tournament, I think. Or maybe they would, but I think if you really want this to be a wild March, you've got to get that at some point again from Rink Mass. Thanks for the super chat, Mike. Josh P. and Jack need to start an ag podcast. I have said that is maybe Nebraska Realty Wahoo office would like. I've been wanting to talk sorghum strategies like crazy lately, and it's all this basketball talk.
We still need to get you on your rural tour.
Yeah. There's just so many different things that I want to get into. Dairy farming, beef, cattle also.
And any other types of animals, because you just keep naming kind of like this one line.
I would sheep. I would like to do I like sheep farming. The sweater industry relies heavily on sheep. It's one of the important assets of this state. We
need to wake you up at like 4 a.m. and get you out detasseling sometime this summer.
Believe it or not, I've never detasseled. I know.
I believe it.
Well, I mean, like everyone did, but I did not. And it wasn't because I wasn't working. I was working. It just wasn't.
Yeah, you were working for the state.
I was working. Yeah, I was installing your fiber optic lines that you're now maybe using. I doubt the same ones. Let's hit. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Mike. Yes. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, Fight says, what would Jack possibly know about waking up at 4 a.m.? Yeah, I like how you act like I couldn't get up early. I'm a king of getting up early.
Jack, from having worked with you, you go take a nap in your office before doing that show.
Sometimes, a couple of times.
Let's get you taking a nap on a bus while you're about to eat some jerky and go through a cornfield.
Just because I have mastered how my body and mind work with the power nap, I can now do it in 12 minutes and completely restore myself.
Wonderful.
Freaking amazing.
You know who else has mastered, apparently, whatever their craft is? It's Creighton getting eliminated from the NCAA tournament.
Did they lose again today?
Got friggin' throttled.
There is a case of Bud Light at the end zone. Fight just shared a picture on our Discord. It's got all those tall boy Bud Lights with the Husker ends on them. And there's a sign on it that says the cooler will be unlocked immediately following the Huskers' first NCAA basketball tournament win. We will crack open and celebrate. And it's got chains and a padlock on it.
Okay. I have to say this. I want Nebraska not just to win the first tournament game, but get to the second weekend, get into the weird part and go see what happens. But man, the bit would also be kind of funny.
What, if it stayed locked? You jerk. Why would you even say that?
The bit would be good. Come on, can we agree to
You mean just to have it last longer?
Just be like, well, throw away the key.
Well, just pretend they put it there in 1985 and imagine how fun that would have been.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of Lowenbrow or something in there, whatever. Bud Dry.
Bud Dry.
I'm trying to think of exclusively 80s beers, and I'm struggling. Those were the two I came up with, Lowenbrow and Bud. I remember when I was a kid, Lowenbrow commercial.
It's just full of hams.
Can you even get a Lowenbrow now? Does that exist? Bud Ice, that's another one. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry.
Oh my God.
What is Bud Dry? I don't even know what that is. I have no idea what that is as someone who, will have a beer. I don't know what a Bud Dry is. And now I wish if anybody saved a can of it, I'd like to have one. Just try it. It sounds nice right now. Well, we were going through we got interrupted by a lot of stuff. Ag talk, beer talk. In terms of just overall stats, Kaleb, Nebraska 52% from the field, Penn State 42% from the field. Better than I thought for Penn State. Nebraska 40% from 3-point range. Actually worse than I thought for Nebraska after watching that game, given that Pryce was 8 for 14 and Frager was 4 for 8.
Yep.
They made 12 threes and they shot together 12 for 22 from 3. The rest of the team, 2 threes, and one of them was Kendall Blue.
Yes.
Penn State, not a 3-point shooting team, I'm starting to think. 4 for 20 for Penn State from the 3-point line. Good for 20%. Nebraska goes 9 for 12 for the line. I looked up at one point in the second half with about 8 minutes left, 10 minutes left. I don't know. I never remember the timestamps on these. And there had been 4 fouls called in the half. Nebraska had 1 at that point. There were so few fouls called in this game. That was a fast game. I got to my car, and we left at the 4-minute timeout, but I got to my car at 2:45.
Yeah, so. It was – well, part of it, Jack, is that Nebraska jumped on them early, and then it was just kind of like, okay, how bad can it get?
Yeah.
And granted, like this isn't even the largest margin of victory Nebraska's had this year, but it was, as I brought up early in the show, it was kind of a boring win. Nebraska got up, and there was no intrigue in what was going to happen.
No, like they were only. I mean, what were they at 14 at half? Was it
18?
But it was not one of those uneasy feelings about this. You could just, the writing was on the wall at that point. By the way, Jordan on the Discord says Jack and Josh have obviously never inseminated a heifer, and it never shows. I'll have you know, I inseminate heifers all the time. Let's see, other box score. I think that's 15 turnovers for Penn State. And then, 10 to 10 offensive rebounds. Nebraska out rebounds on defense of 26 to 23 there. So actually fairly even on those. So that leads me to, I think, what probably won't be all that interesting today, although it surprises us sometimes, the Ryan Anderson Memorial Player of the Game. Ryan Anderson is still very much alive.
Yes.
We just like to remember him and his great piano playing skill. Can we get Ryan back in town to play the piano before a game? I would really appreciate that. By the way, it was the shortest game ever, but that was the longest national anthem I think I've ever heard. That was
really built it up for the crescendo there.
Are you? Let's do the say it at the same time thing, okay?
Yeah, I'm sure this will work with our connections. I bet.
1, 2, 3. Pryce Sandfort. Okay.
Yes.
There it is. Wow. Amazingly, we were lockstep with Pryce Sandfort's 33 points, 11 for 17 field goals, 8 for 14 threes, 9 rebounds. Really daring. We've only differed once on it. Once on it.
Well, and it could have got, let's say Sam doesn't have 3 turnovers and instead gets closer to 8 or 9 rebounds, and he's flirting more triple-double. There could have been more of an argument for Sam, but he has a nice double-double, grabs those rebounds, but the 3 turnovers is very uncharacteristic of the way he's played over the course of the year.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Honestly, every game I watch, Sam's the MVP. So I'll just make him
every game.
Every time I say my Ryan Anderson MVP, it's really second place unless it's Sam.
It's either Sam or you're fighting for second.
He's just like I wish can we sue the NCAA and get him another year?
Probably.
Because the way the pace at which he is improving right now is a bit shocking. The career arc that he's had from the beginning of this year to where he is, from the end of last year to the beginning of this year to where he is right now. It's just been so impressive.
And actually, I'll say this, Jack. If we were able to do that, it might be too dangerous, and as a society, we probably shouldn't. Because if he comes back next year with the way that improvement graph is going, he's probably the number one pick next year.
Yeah,
and it becomes, you have to worry about the physical safety of everyone else around him, because his biceps might grow another 3 inches.
That's true. I have to get him out of the weight room.
Get him out of the gym.
Okay, so that's everything about that. Looking ahead now, Nebraska has Maryland coming up next. Nebraska has just got this part of the schedule after just going through the freaking gauntlet where they get the bottom of the Big Ten at home, 3 out of 4 games, and that Maryland game. Now, Fred said, I don't know if I believe him. I guess I haven't. I've seen the scores. I'm not going to say that I've been, carefully watching Maryland throughout the last couple of weeks. He says Maryland is playing their best ball of the year. They currently are 4-12 right now. Their last several games, they did beat Washington at home by 4. They lost to just going backwards in their schedule. Lost to Northwestern at Northwestern by 4. Lost to Rutgers at Rutgers by 11. Lost at Iowa by 7. Same we did. Won at Minnesota 67-62. So I'm kind of talking myself into it. And that's their next game. They're not playing this weekend. Well, so they get the old.
No, they just played today.
Oh, is it today that happened? Okay.
They just played Washington today.
So they just won today. That's why Fred said that.
Yeah. Jeez, they just won today.
How did Fred know the result before I did?
Okay. Here's the thing though. They just gave up. Remember, Nebraska just played Northwestern and we were like, oh man, 9 points in the second half, but Martinelli ends up with 11. He had 29 points against them earlier in the week. Against Maryland.
When Northwestern beat them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Maryland, Maryland gets the win today, but let me say this. They might be playing their best basketball of the year. It's still not very good basketball. It's still a game that Nebraska should come out and control start to finish like they did today.
I'm not saying this to make Husker for MU mad, but I saw them beat Marquette like in November, and they played very good then. But that was when they had what's his name still on the team before he got hurt, the Minnesota transfer. Yeah. So we'll see. Of those 29 points Martinelli scored, do you know how many were on goofy ass looking 3-pointers?
Probably.
By any chance?
Probably all of them. He went 3 for 6 on threes.
I've seen some weird 3-point form. That guy. Honestly, most of his shots, they almost all go in, but he is a weirdest looking shot. So that's what's coming up next. And then after that, of course, you go to the West Coast trip, Kaleb, and very exciting. If you love late night basketball, yikes. We're gonna have the old 10 o'clock start for Nebraska when they take on. Is that the USC?
That's the UCLA.
So the USC game is actually an afternoon game. That's right, because that's a Saturday game.
Yep.
So that's a week from today. That'll be right about halftime a week from right now. And then you go to at UCLA will be that Wednesday night, I believe, and that will be a 10 o'clock Central start before they come home. I mean, 4 games left, Kaleb.
Yeah, it's like we said this. There's only so many games left.
They're not going to lose 9 games in the regular season. Lock it up.
Yeah, there's only so many games to boost your resume or destroy your resume, to knock you down a seed line. Obviously, there's nothing left that Nebraska is going to do that on its own will improve a seed line. You got to start worrying about what other people are doing. But again, the rest of Nebraska's schedule at UCLA and then Iowa, like those are obviously significantly tougher than Maryland and USC. But there's nothing about these last 4 games that says you can't win out. Like there's no hill sitting in front of you that goes, no, that's too high for you to climb.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what will happen with the Lions against USC and UCLA, but they'll be either favorites or very minor underdogs in all of them. They'll be favored against Iowa at home.
Yep.
And I don't, I do not worry about them being flat in that game whatsoever.
No,
it does. I didn't say this. A couple of other things real quick before we look ahead, and then we'll wrap things up here. Nebrasketball Hour brought to you by Nebraska Realty Wahoo Office. Please, if you are just joining us for the first time or another time and you haven't yet, subscribe to the Facebook page. That's free. Set notifications if you want to know when we go on after games and when we do it next time after the Maryland game. Couple of other notes. It did feel like Pryce Sandfort at the beginning of that game. We know he had a great night. He was ready to exercise the demons.
Yes.
Right? You could just tell. And like even his reactions to making he was like, he was doing this a lot after he was making.
He's like, I'm here.
I'm here. I mean, he is going to be on a freaking mission in that Iowa game. And I think that bodes well for Nebraska because I think, I don't know, some shooters, I've said this about Nebraska. I think it still is generally true as they don't thrive a ton on emotion, but I think he may a little bit more than I realized.
Yeah, it definitely seems like he's leaning into that more with some of these, like taking slights and hitting threes and feeling good about it and riding that emotion. We should probably say, and I know people, I think we mentioned it earlier, but when we look at that LA trip and that 10 o'clock start for UCLA, there will not be a post game. There will be a watch party.
Thank you. Yes. We'll do a watch party. And if the game needs more discussion, maybe we'll do a post game afterwards.
We'll just stay on and keep talking.
Yeah. So last time I did a watch party, Bryce Williams broke the scoring record and Bigelow drank a bottle of wine, and
hell yeah, baby.
There's a lot happening. A lot happening when we last did this. And then the other thing is, how about Eli Rice? Just the FU Eli Rice chants throughout the stadium the entire game. Student section was just terrible to him. I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. Nobody was a jerk at Nebraska. And yeah, I know they once booed Chucky Hepburn, but I feel it's a little different to some degree. Still not acceptable, but anyway.
I know the selection committee came out with their top 16 reveal today.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Do you feel it with this win? And I guess maybe it feels like it moves some pieces around because of the Kansas result. Did you feel that was a proper spot for Nebraska, the third 3 seed, and then is that your confidence for Nebraska going forward that that's about where they'll be?
So I thought when they were talking up the strength of record or the wins above bubble thing this week, I thought there was a chance Nebraska would be ahead of Kansas and Florida. So not too worried about that anymore, obviously. Other than that, I also thought there might be a chance Michigan State. The biggest thing to me was where Michigan State was.
Right.
I'll just go over it in case you guys didn't hear, because I didn't hear it. This is the first time I'm actually really looking at it. The 1 seeds: Michigan, Duke, Arizona, Iowa State. 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order. Then the 2 seeds in order of where they're ranked: UConn 5, didn't drop a ton after the bad loss. Little surprise, maybe they're still ahead of Houston at 6, Illinois 7, Purdue 8. So those are your 2 seeds: UConn, Houston, Illinois, Purdue in that order. Your 3 seeds in order: Florida at 9.
Yeah,
man. Kansas at 10, Nebraska at 11, Gonzaga at 12. And I know everyone watches Florida, and every time people are like, hey, take the odds on Florida to win the national championship and all of those things. But man, come on. What, 6 losses? I think they have. Is that right? I believe they have 6 losses. I want to see who their losses are to real quick as we're discussing this, because I can tell this is going to be something that bothers me for a long time.
Well, as you pull that up real quick, it was Nebraska and Gonzaga to round out the 3s, and then the 4s in order: Texas Tech, Michigan State, Vanderbilt, Virginia.
And then to note on, Virginia at 16 getting squeezed in there. Texas Tech lost their best player for the season.
Yep.
Toppin's out for the season. That changes them significantly. And, we'll see what they do, but that's going to be really difficult for them. Nebraska's got the win against Michigan, Virginia, Vanderbilt. If Nebraska takes care of business, I don't think they're going to be caught from behind.
Yeah.
With those. Now you lose a game. We'll see if you lose a game, but it doesn't set up too bad for them, I don't think, Kaleb. if this is where they are right now, because they currently now would be the second 3 seed and behind Florida. Florida's losses, yes, they're great. Okay, fair enough. Arizona.
And you're talking about it like Nebraska and Kansas flipped.
Yeah, assuming Nebraska is now ahead of Kansas.
Yeah.
I assume they are. If they put it out right now, that would be the case. Is Kansas would drop to the 4 line. Florida's losses: Arizona, TCU. I mean, TCU is good this year, but then Duke and UConn at Missouri versus Auburn. I mean, like, I get it. And I'm not even denying what everyone says. I mean, they obviously passed the eye test. I don't know. I'm gonna have a hard time swallowing that if that ends up being the case. They are at, and they beat Ole Miss. That must have been today by 20. I thought maybe there was a shot. So they're at Texas. Next, they have Arkansas at home. They have Mississippi State at home, and they're at Kentucky. So unless Arkansas can do something there, they're probably finishing out ahead of Nebraska, even if Nebraska wins out. So you may have to pass 2 teams, or you may have to have 2 teams below them. You got Kansas already, but you may need another 2 to get on that 2 line, I think, unfortunately. But what's more important, the 2 line or the location? It probably depends on who you are.
To me, I say the location, but that's because we're traveling to it.
Shanuary says, can you talk about J-Law? Thank you. Can you talk about J-Law? I assume that means in terms of the injury?
Yeah, and I know, like, we talked about it briefly. It wasn't like we dove into it too deep, but it was just that initially people said it looked like it could have been a hyperextended knee. It could have been the knee, and then Fred came out afterwards and said it was the ankle. It's not something he's too worried about, but they'll know more tomorrow. As you and I were both trying to listen to him and kind of read between the lines on what he's saying, I'm not overly concerned about it. I know some other people might be, that we've seen in the Discord chat, but for me, listening to Fred and seeing that obviously Jamarcus walked off the floor, like, he didn't need carried off the floor. He walked off, and it's an ankle, not a knee. It sounds like he's going to be okay. We'll just see if it's something that maybe hinders him for the next night out, to where he's on a minutes restriction or doesn't play because they're still getting everything healed up. But the positive is you're at home. You don't have an ankle injury immediately into a couple game road set. It's not like you're not to the LA trip yet. And we've seen the way they've handled some of these guys with the injuries is they don't want to get them on planes and kind of mess with that inflammation. Yeah.
And I don't know if Bruce heard what we said at the beginning of the show. I kind of went through what Fred said at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
He said, we'll know tomorrow. He said he's okay now. He said, but he's got adrenaline right now. It was hard to get much out of it to tell for sure, but he did go right to the locker room.
Yeah.
So he must have known he sprained it fairly decently. So, but like you said, he went off in his own power.
In the Discord, Royals Girl asked if they do the show again, the top 16 reveal. No, it's not like the college football playoff committee where they do it every Tuesday.
It's like I think volleyball does it this way once.
And women's basketball had theirs a week ago, men's basketball today, and we will find out in 22 days. That'll be Selection Sunday. That'll be the next time we actually get stuff from the selection committee.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else then? Just sort of looking forward. That Kansas loss is huge for Nebraska. Like you are having some loud noises bumping into something there. I don't know what that is.
Whatever.
All right. Anything else? Final thoughts, Kaleb here. The only other thing is I was going to look at maybe the Big Ten games here coming up during the night, but any final thoughts for you before we do that?
It was nice to see Braden maybe trust his ankle a little bit more. We saw that with the rebounding, the way he's flying down the lane. Fred had talked about that maybe that was still a lingering thing in his head of, okay, do I need to overcompensate? Do I need to protect the ankle? Do I need because it's not something that you you feel like just because you're playing that the ankle's 100%. So it felt like from watching him that Braden feels like that's something that he's much more comfortable playing with. That'll be important when you get to the bigger games because he needs to be athletic. That would have been something that you and I both wanted when we were watching against Iowa, get Frager with someone on his hip and get into the lane and go finish. Maybe he wasn't feeling as comfortable then as he did today. So hopefully he can do that going forward. Price heaters are always fun. Sam filling up the stat sheet. We'll find out tomorrow what we get from Jamarcus. Rink with no turnovers was still to me something that was a bright spot, even if the scoring wasn't there. Seeing Leo, seeing Jared, those guys getting out there and having some success is going to be helpful. And obviously, Kale just keeps plugging away. So even though the game was kind of over from the start, there were a lot of things that you can take and go, okay, you didn't have a misstep today in the grand scheme of things that's going to hurt you down the stretch. And there's only so many games left, and we get to the Big Ten tournament and Selection Sunday and roll from there.
Arizona 65, Houston 57 with a minute 10 left. While this doesn't hurt Houston, I think a win would have been huge, obviously, for them. And so Nebraska, it still benefits, I think, Nebraska for Arizona to win that, even though, it's not going to knock Houston below Nebraska by any means, but it puts them almost untouchable if they end up winning that game. So that's going on right now. Arkansas in a tight one with Missouri in the second half for those who are watching live right now. Maybe you want to keep an eye. Arkansas is one of you got to go down a ways. There aren't that many threats in terms of location for Oklahoma City outside of the obvious ones, the Houston, Iowa State, Kansas sort of axis. And Arkansas, you probably have to get down to them if Texas Tech doesn't end up being one. And then the rest of the night right now, you do have Oregon playing USC. Oregon up 3 at USC right now, Kaleb, in the second half. Interesting.
Okay.
Oregon's been all over during the course of this year. So those are some of the games that are going on right now. And then just to take a look real quick at the Big Ten, the game tonight here for the Big Ten is Michigan and Duke. I don't know what you want in that one. I suppose Michigan to win the game. But that's happening in Washington, D.C. What a weird game. And you do have Illinois at UCLA at 7:00. That might, I don't know where UCLA's state of mind is, but in terms of the interest level for Nebraska fans, that's high.
Yes.
That is definitely high.
Well, and you know what else is of interest to Nebrasketball fans is the way that they can support us in making that first trip with the road show. We've got hoodies, Jack.
Yes, we do. Well, somebody messaging you to tell you to talk about that by any chance? I had it ready to go. Okay. Jeez. I was leading in to, all right, I won't tell you the games tonight, but yes, we are taking a road show. We are going to the tournament, and we would love to have you, if you want to help us out, you could buy, yes, it is the exclusive I-80 Road Show Dancing with the Skurs sweatshirt, and we've got it up on the screen. If you'd like to be part of our road crew, our exclusive road crew, maybe get some other benefits too, as well of that, whether you're going or whether you're not, you can see what that looks like on the screen. And there's a link on YouTube right now to get to the store if you would like to do that and just help get us there to the tournament. It's something that we really have worked a lot on. We really want to do. It's really important for us to all get out there, and it's we'll see. It might be Buffalo, it might be Greenville, it might be taking flights. We'll see. So if you would like to do that, you can do that as well. Big thanks to Husker Power Products. They are our sponsor for the road show. And then also, as always, we need to shout out our community partners who are also a part of this and helping us get there as well. We've got Sutton, Linder, and Sutton. Appreciate them being a part of this as a community sponsor. We got Eye Surgical Associates and Don. Thanks so much with that. Sandstone Wealth Management. Tyler doing that as well. And then some of the people are on the road crew, Bruce, Corey, Royals Girl, G. Merle, Roscoe, Connor. Appreciate you guys helping us out. And the other thing that you get if you end up being on the road crew is you get to send messages out during the tournament on our scroll. So you will get to send your messages that will be scrolling during the course of our shows from the tournament. So there you go. All right. Well, now I guess we are done. So we'll end it on that. Appreciate everyone joining us. Have a great night. We'll be back after the Maryland game. And then on Monday, of course, Kaleb, you'll be with Mike on Unemployed and hopefully talk about basketball there.
Yeah, it'll be winning is fun compared to the show we did the other day. This is fun.
There you go. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys. We will see you next time on Nebrasketball Hour, brought to you by Nebraska Realty Wahoo Office. Have a good one.